Mara adjusted her seat and checked the glowing dashboard of her hovercar. The city of Nova Prime stretched out below her, a maze of bright lights and towering skyscrapers. Neon signs blinked in different languages and the hum of flying vehicles filled the air. From above it looked beautiful and orderly, but Mara knew the streets hid danger. The new crime syndicate had been smuggling illegal energy cells into the city, and the local authorities seemed unable to stop them. Mara was different. She was not just another patrol officer. She worked for the interstellar DEA, a special branch that investigated crimes across planets. Her job demanded intelligence, courage, and quick thinking. Today she was driving alone through the lower sectors, pretending to make a routine patrol, but her mind was focused on the syndicate. The hovercar glided smoothly above the roads, its sensors scanning for unusual energy signatures. Mara had grown up on a colony planet with limited resources, and she had learned to notice small details that others missed. She could sense a vehicle that carried even a small illegal load. This skill, combined with her implants and training, made her an effective agent. As she drove, Mara noticed a vehicle following her. It was subtle, keeping a distance but maintaining the same speed. She studied the pattern. The car had markings similar to city patrol vehicles, but moved too cautiously for a normal officer. Mara knew the signs of a tail. It could be someone trying to intimidate her, or worse, someone planning to plant evidence. She kept calm. Her instincts were sharp, and panic would only make her vulnerable. Mara decided to take a few detours through crowded streets and elevated bridges. The vehicle followed, but she kept her movements unpredictable. Her heart remained steady. Every curve, every acceleration was calculated to observe the other driver's reaction. The follow car seemed tense, almost as if the person inside was not sure what Mara knew. Finally, she parked near a busy plaza, where vendors sold glowing fruits and mechanical parts. The place was crowded with workers, tourists, and delivery drones. Mara stepped out and pretended to check her vehicle. She tapped the dashboard, and her internal system scanned for tampering. Her sensors picked up something unusual, tiny energy residue that did not belong to her hovercar. Someone had tried to plant illegal energy cells inside her vehicle. Mara smiled slightly. She had expected this. The corrupt officers had overestimated their chances. She had faced similar tricks before, and she knew how to handle them. Calmly, she activated the private communication channel on her wrist device. It connected to her network of agents and sent an alert about the attempted setup. She also started recording evidence with her discreet drones that hovered silently above the plaza. A man in a dark uniform approached. He looked like a patrol officer, but his eyes showed nervousness. He tried to speak to Mara in a firm tone. "Agent, we need to check your vehicle. There have been reports of illegal energy transfers." Mara raised an eyebrow. "And who authorized this?" Her voice was calm but firm.
She had a reputation for handling tricky situations without raising alarms.
The man hesitated. He clearly did not expect her response. "I am authorized. You will comply," Mara continued. Then she revealed her identity. "I am the DEA. I operate under interstellar jurisdiction. You are not authorized to interfere." The man froze. His hand twitched slightly as if he had not anticipated this. He took a step back. Mara could see the panic in his eyes. She stayed calm, maintaining a posture that showed confidence and authority. Humans had a natural ability to project power through presence, and Mara used it well. She examined the man's equipment with her sensors. Hidden inside his uniform were small devices meant to tamper with her vehicle's energy systems. The officers were trying to frame her, but she already had all the proof she needed. Her human intuition, combined with advanced technology, allowed her to detect the subtle inconsistencies. Mara decided not to act immediately. Instead, she observed, calculated, and prepared her next move. She knew that the corrupt officers would act rashly if they felt trapped. That was when she planned to take control. Her experience in the DEA had taught her that patience and intelligence were often more powerful than brute force. As she stood in the plaza, she noticed the people around her going about their business. Some stared curiously at the uniformed man. Some ignored the scene entirely. Mara liked these moments. She felt grounded, connected to the human world even in a city full of advanced technology and flying vehicles. The city thrived because of human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. She represented all of that. Suddenly, the man took a step forward. "You must come with us. We need to examine your car." His voice was louder now, and he seemed to gain confidence from the crowd's attention. Mara shook her head slowly. "No, you are attempting a false accusation. I have already logged your actions and evidence. Any further interference will be recorded and submitted to the Interstellar Council." The man's eyes widened. He glanced at his colleagues who were waiting behind him in a hovercar. They hesitated, unsure how to act. Mara took this moment to scan the environment. She identified several escape routes, nearby cameras, and crowd patterns. Her mind worked like a computer, but her decisions were driven by human reasoning. "You cannot scare me," she said firmly. "I know what you are doing, and it will not succeed." The man faltered. His uniformed confidence crumbled under her calm determination. Mara stepped back and walked slowly toward her hovercar. Her movements were deliberate and measured. She wanted the corrupt officers to realize that human intelligence and courage could not be overridden by threats or deceit. They followed her reluctantly, unsure of how to handle her composure. Once inside her hovercar, Mara activated the security protocols. Tiny energy shields enclosed the interior, preventing any external tampering. The dashboard displayed live scans of the surrounding area. She saw the man attempting to signal his colleagues. Her sensors detected the transmissions. She tapped her wrist device, sending encrypted signals to her DEA partners in the city. Help was already on its way. Mara's lips curved into a small smile. She loved these moments. The thrill of the chase, the battle of wits, the test of courage. Humans thrived in challenges like this because of their creativity, determination, and moral clarity. She was not just fighting a crime. She was demonstrating the power of human intelligence against deception. The man outside realized he could not reach her. His hands twitched and he shouted orders to his colleagues. Mara ignored him. She focused on gathering data, recording every move, and preparing for the next stage. She knew that exposing corruption required more than strength. It required strategy, patience, and careful observation. As she prepared to move, Mara looked at the city below her once again. The lights, the people, the energy, and the life, it all reminded her why she did this work. Humans were capable of incredible achievements. They could build cities among the stars, solve complex problems, and face danger with courage and intelligence. She felt proud to be part of that legacy. Her hovercar lifted off smoothly. She took a calculated route, avoiding crowded areas while keeping an eye on the corrupt officers. They tried to follow, but Mara's planning and knowledge of the city made her movements unpredictable. Her human mind, trained and adaptable, allowed her to stay one step ahead. Mara knew this was only the beginning. The corrupt officers were part of a larger problem, a network that threatened the city's safety. She had to gather more evidence, expose the crime, and ensure justice was done. The city depended on humans like her, those who could combine intelligence, courage, and morality to face challenges that technology alone could not solve. As the hovercar moved through the neon-lit streets, Mara felt a surge of determination. She was ready to face whatever came next. Humans had an extraordinary ability to adapt, to overcome obstacles, and to stand firm against deceit and corruption. Mara embodied all of that, and she would not fail. The chase was beginning, and she was ready to prove that human ingenuity could outsmart even the most calculated schemes. In the city of Nova Prime, among the towering skyscrapers and humming traffic, one agent stood as a reminder that humans were capable of incredible heroism. Mara smiled, her eyes focused on the horizon, prepared for the challenges that awaited her. Mara navigated the winding skyways of Nova Prime with skill and focus. Her hovercar hummed quietly, gliding over the streams of traffic below. The city lights reflected in the polished surfaces of her dashboard as she scanned for any sign of pursuit. She knew the corrupt officers would try to follow her, but she had anticipated every possibility. Human intuition, sharp observation, and calm reasoning gave her an advantage that no automated system could match. As she moved through the lower districts, she activated her discreet drones. Tiny, silent, and nearly invisible, they floated around the city's edge, scanning for unusual energy signatures. Mara had built a network over years of service, linking her sensors to other agents and automated monitoring stations. Within moments, the drones detected the tailing vehicle. It had slowed slightly, perhaps realizing it was being tracked. Mara's lips curved into a small smile. The corrupt officers were clever, but they underestimated her intelligence and preparation. Her first priority was to secure proof. She had to show the Interstellar Council that the evidence planted in her hovercar was false, and that the officers were corrupt. Her sensors detected the exact energy residue the officers had left behind. It was a faint trace of illegal energy cells, deliberately placed to trigger a false alarm. Mara stored all the data, including video from her drones and sensor logs, ensuring that nothing could be denied later. Humans had an incredible ability to combine observation, logic, and creativity, and Mara relied on all three. Suddenly, the vehicle behind her shifted lanes and accelerated. Mara's implants highlighted the trajectory in orange, marking the car as a threat. She did not panic. Instead, she calmly calculated the best route to maneuver. Using the city's layout and knowledge of traffic patterns, she made her path unpredictable. Every turn, every speed adjustment was measured to observe the officers' reactions. She wanted to understand their strategy before taking action. The pursuing car made a sudden move to cut her off near a narrow bridge. Mara's heart remained steady. She gently tapped a control, releasing a temporary energy barrier behind her car. It blocked any potential attempt to interfere with her systems. The officer's hovercar slammed against the barrier, causing a loud alarm in their vehicle. Mara's drones recorded everything. She could see the panic in the officers' movements, their hands shaking as they tried to regain control. Mara spoke softly into her wrist communicator. "You are being observed. All actions are recorded. Any attempt to tamper with my vehicle will be submitted as evidence. Stand down." Her voice was calm, confident, and authoritative. There was no anger or fear in it. The human ability to project authority through presence and words was stronger than any automated system. The officers hesitated. She decided it was time to confront them directly. The nearest open area was a plaza that overlooked the city river. Crowds of people were walking along skywalks. Vendors sold glowing fruits and delivery drones flew overhead. Mara steered her hovercar smoothly into the space, carefully positioning herself so the corrupt officers had no room to escape. The lead officer stepped out of his car. His uniform had the markings of city patrol, but his eyes betrayed him. He thought he could intimidate her. Mara remained seated, her posture calm but firm. Her sensors detected that he carried small devices intended to disable her vehicle remotely. She noted their positions, the angle, and their likely function. Humans had the ability to plan, anticipate, and act in ways machines could not. Mara used that ability to remain several steps ahead. "You are under investigation," the officer said. "Step out of the vehicle for inspection." Mara shook her head. "I am the DEA. I operate under interstellar law. You have no authority over me. Your attempt to frame me is recorded and will be submitted to the council." The officer's face showed disbelief. He stepped back as if expecting her to panic. Mara remained calm. She had faced situations like this before. Confidence, clarity, and intelligence were more powerful than threats. She could see his hesitation and knew she had the upper hand. "Your actions are illegal," she continued. "You are attempting to plant evidence to cover your mistakes. Any further interference will be punished." She reached for a control and activated the recording system on her hovercar. Tiny lights glowed, indicating that all movements around her car were being logged in high resolution. Every word, every action would be proof. The officer glanced at his colleagues who had stopped behind him. They seemed unsure how to act. Mara's human intuition told her that fear had taken hold. Machines might be programmed to resist, but humans often faltered when faced with intelligent, calm opposition. She waited, giving them time to reconsider. Finally, the officer spoke again, his voice quieter. "You are not supposed to know. This is top secret." Mara raised an eyebrow. "I know enough. I have already identified your tampering. I have logged it. I know what you intended. You cannot hide your actions from me." Her words hit like a wave. The officer's confidence faltered further. Mara stepped out of the hovercar, moving slowly and deliberately. The crowd noticed the confrontation but did not interfere. Mara had a presence that commanded attention without causing panic. Humans had the ability to influence others through composure and reasoning, and she used it to full effect. The officer tried one last time to assert authority. "You will come with us. You cannot stop this investigation." Mara smiled slightly. "I am the investigation. I am authorized by the Interstellar Council. Any attempt to override me is a violation of law." She activated her wrist device, sending the live feed of the interaction to her headquarters. Every movement, every word, every attempt to interfere was now documented in real time. The officer glanced at the devices in his uniform and realized they were already compromised. Mara's systems had detected them and neutralized any threat. He backed away, his face pale. Humans had the remarkable ability to adapt, to improvise, and to act strategically under pressure. Mara had demonstrated that ability perfectly. Mara did not raise her voice or threaten. She relied on intelligence, calm reasoning, and careful planning. The officers could not match her mental clarity. She studied their reactions and began asking questions in a firm but controlled tone. "Why did you do this? Who gave you the order? You are endangering the city by acting outside the law." The officer's mouth opened, but no words came. He was trapped in a corner of his own making. Mara's calm and clarity made him falter. Humans could wield truth and reason like a weapon, and she used it expertly. Suddenly, one of the officer's colleagues tried to signal their hovercar to attack. Mara anticipated it. She tapped a command on her wrist device, sending a signal to temporarily disable external interference. The car's engines faltered, giving her complete control over the situation. Her calm foresight, strategic thinking, and preparation left no room for escape. "You cannot threaten me," Mara said quietly. "You cannot tamper with my vehicle. Your actions are recorded and will be punished." The officers realized that their plan had failed. Every attempt to deceive, intimidate, or overpower her had been foiled by human intelligence, strategy, and patience. The crowd began to notice the tension. Some whispered among themselves while others watched quietly. Mara knew she needed to act swiftly but wisely. She moved closer to the officers and maintained her steady, confident posture. Her human presence was more powerful than any mechanical device. "You are under observation," she said one final time. "Any further action will be submitted to the council. You cannot hide behind uniforms or technology. Your corruption is exposed." The officer's expression shifted from confidence to fear. They realized that their plan had failed. Mara had used her intelligence, calm reasoning, and human intuition to turn the situation completely in her favor. Her preparation, skill, and courage had overcome deception and intimidation. Mara returned to her hovercar and activated her internal shields. She watched the officers retreat, their confidence broken. She knew this was only the beginning of her investigation. The syndicate was still out there, but the first step had been completed. She had proven that human intelligence and courage could overcome deceit and corruption. Mara took a deep breath and glanced at the city below. The lights, the people, the energy. It all reminded her why she did what she did. Humans were capable of incredible achievement. They could build cities among the stars, solve complex problems, and act with courage and integrity. She was proud to be part of that legacy. Her hovercar lifted smoothly into the air. Mara's eyes scanned the horizon, searching for the next step in her mission. She knew the corrupt officers would try to hide, but she also knew that human ingenuity, preparation, and determination would always find them. The city of Nova Prime moved below her, unaware of the quiet battle that had just unfolded. Mara smiled. She was ready for whatever came next. The pursuit of justice, the exposure of corruption, and the protection of the city required intelligence, courage, and patience. Humans had all three, and she would prove it again and again. The revelation had come. She was the DEA. She had authority beyond the city, beyond the ordinary limits of law enforcement. Her calm confidence and human skill had stunned the corrupt officers. Now she could continue her mission with clarity and purpose, ready to face the challenges ahead. Mara's hovercar glided silently through the elevated skyways of Nova Prime. The city was alive with lights, movement, and energy. Delivery drones zipped past and vehicles hovered like schools of metal fish in a neon-lit river. Mara's eyes scanned every vehicle, every shadow. The corrupt officers had vanished temporarily, but she knew they were plotting their next move. She tapped a command on her wrist device. Her drones dispersed silently, moving in different directions to track any unusual activity. One of them quickly identified a pattern, a small convoy of black hovercars moving through the industrial sector. The sensors confirmed what Mara suspected. The corrupt officers were regrouping and planning to cover their tracks. Mara did not panic. She activated the hovercar's adaptive route program and adjusted her path to intercept them. Her mind worked, like a clock, calculating distances, speeds, and potential escape routes. The human brain, capable of creativity, intuition, and quick decision-making, was her greatest advantage. Machines could calculate, but humans could predict behavior. Mara used this skill to stay ahead. The industrial sector was a maze of warehouses, shipping docks, and narrow skyways. Mara moved through it with precision, her hovercar weaving between structures without disturbing the cargo drones. Her eyes scanned every corner, every alley. She noticed that some energy readings matched the type that had been planted in her vehicle earlier. The corrupt officers were attempting to link themselves to the syndicate's activities. Suddenly, one of the convoy's hovercars accelerated sharply, trying to escape. Mara followed, her own hovercar responding instantly to her commands. The EBONY, city's lights reflected in the polished metal surfaces, creating streaks of color as the vehicles weaved through the streets. Mara felt a thrill. Humans thrived in challenges like this where intelligence, courage, and quick thinking were tested. The officers split into two groups, attempting to confuse her sensors. Mara anticipated the maneuver. She deployed a small drone ahead of one convoy and another to the side. The drones transmitted live data, giving her a complete view of the officers' movements. The human ability to adapt quickly, to improvise solutions, and to predict behavior was proving stronger than their mechanical attempts to escape. One of the black hovercars made a sharp turn toward a narrow sky bridge. Mara followed, her car barely clearing the edge. The officer inside tried to jam her sensors using an electronic pulse. Mara had anticipated this. She activated a countermeasure, rerouting her sensors through her drones. The signal failed to disrupt her data collection. Humans could use technology, but they could also think around it, adapting faster than any program. As the chase continued, Mara noticed that the officers were heading toward a hidden warehouse. It was a place she had scanned before, known for illegal energy exchanges. The warehouse was a hub for syndicate activity. Mara realized that the corrupt officers were planning to hide evidence and meet the syndicate. She had to stop them before they could cover their tracks. She activated a communication link with her DEA partners. "I am in pursuit of the convoy. They are heading toward the industrial hub near Dock 7. Prepare for backup and surveillance support." Her words were calm and precise. Humans had the ability to organize and lead, to coordinate complex actions, and to remain focused under pressure. Mara relied on that skill now. The convoy entered the warehouse district, moving slowly to avoid detection. Mara followed, using stealth protocols to remain unseen. Her sensors scanned every building, every rooftop. The corrupt officers tried to blend into the environment, but they could not hide from human ingenuity. Mara anticipated their every move, adjusting her path to intercept them at the optimal point. Inside one of the warehouses, the officers met with a group of shadowy figures. Energy crates glowed faintly in the dim light. The syndicate members were unaware that Mara had tracked the convoy. She watched silently from above, analyzing their behavior, noting patterns, and collecting evidence. Humans had an extraordinary ability to observe and reason. Mara used it to her advantage. The officers tried to signal Mara's location to the syndicate, but she had already detected the signal. Using her wrist device, she intercepted and traced the communication. She now had proof not only of the officers' corruption, but also of the syndicate's illegal activities. The combination of human reasoning, intuition, and technology gave her complete awareness of the situation. Mara decided it was time to act. She triggered a subtle alert in the warehouse, a harmless but visible energy pulse that drew attention. The syndicate members looked around, startled. The corrupt officers shouted orders, trying to maintain control. Mara moved her hovercar to a strategic position outside the warehouse, ready to intervene. The syndicate attempted to flee, but Mara was prepared. She used drones to block the main exits and recorded their movements. Her mind worked rapidly, calculating the most efficient way to corner the criminals without causing harm. Human intelligence was flexible and adaptive. Machines could follow commands, but humans could think creatively under pressure. Mara relied on that skill fully. The officers realized they were trapped. Mara spoke through a communication channel. "This is the DEA. You are surrounded. Surrender now. Any attempt to escape will be documented and prosecuted." Her voice was calm, authoritative, and unwavering. Humans had a natural power to command respect through presence and clarity, and Mara used it perfectly. One of the officers tried to argue. "You do not have the authority here, this is a city matter." Mara's eyes narrowed. "I have interstellar jurisdiction. Your attempt to plant evidence and collaborate with criminals is a violation of law. Surrender and cooperate, or face consequences." The officers hesitated. They realized that their plan had failed. Every attempt to deceive or intimidate Mara had been countered. Her intelligence, preparation, and calm determination had outmatched their schemes. Humans could assess risk, adapt quickly, and respond creatively. Mara demonstrated all three. The syndicate members attempted to flee through a side exit. Mara anticipated the move. She deployed a drone to block the path and signaled her partners. Backup arrived swiftly with other DEA agents securing the warehouse. The combination of human foresight, coordination, and adaptability ensured success. The corrupt officers and syndicate members were forced to surrender. Mara calmly approached them, recording every action. She used her presence to maintain control without aggression. Humans had the unique ability to influence others through intelligence, patience, and authority. Mara's actions reflected that ability. She collected evidence from the scene. Data from the energy crates, communication logs, and device records from the corrupt officers. Every detail was cataloged meticulously. The human capacity for observation, organization, and reasoning allowed her to build a complete record of the crime. Mara's mind reflected on the chase. Humans thrived in situations that required courage, intelligence, and moral clarity. She had faced deception, threats, and danger, yet she remained calm and effective. Her success was not just due to technology or training, but to the human traits of adaptability, creativity, and determination. The city of Nova Prime continued, below her, unaware of the battle that had just taken place. Mara's work would ensure justice, uphold law, and demonstrate that human intelligence and courage could overcome corruption. She had proven that even against sophisticated schemes, humans could prevail. Mara looked at the retreating officers and syndicate members. Her eyes were sharp, her mind alert. She knew that challenges would continue, but humans had the power to overcome obstacles. She had demonstrated that power today. The drones returned to her hover car, transmitting the final logs of the pursuit. Mara analyzed the data, confirming that the evidence was complete and irrefutable. Her calm reasoning, strategic planning, and quick decision-making had ensured success. Humans could think beyond pre-programmed systems, adapt to unexpected situations, and respond with clarity. Mara embodied these qualities. With the chase concluded, Mara prepared to return to the city center. She had secured the immediate area and ensured that the corrupt officers and syndicate members would be held accountable. The pursuit had been challenging, but human ingenuity, courage, and intelligence had prevailed. As she flew over the neon-lit streets, Mara reflected on the human potential she had witnessed within herself. Humans could solve complex problems, make critical decisions under pressure, and act with courage and moral clarity. Technology and training were tools, but the human mind was the most powerful resource. The chase had ended, but the mission continued. Mara knew there were more threats, more challenges, and more opportunities to demonstrate the strength of human intelligence and courage. Nova Prime relied on humans like her to maintain justice and uphold integrity. She glanced at the horizon, the glowing towers of the city reflecting her determination. Humans were capable of extraordinary achievements. They could navigate danger, overcome corruption, and act with unwavering courage. Mara had proven that today, and she was ready to continue. Her hover car adjusted its course, moving steadily toward the city center. Mara's mind was alert, her heart calm, and her determination unwavering. Humans had the power to face any challenge, and she would continue to show that power through her actions, intelligence, and courage. Mara approached the abandoned orbital warehouse on the edge of Nova Prime. The structure was enormous, made of steel and reinforced panels, with rows of crates stacked high. The warehouse had been abandoned for years, yet tonight it served as a hidden hub for the corrupt officers and the syndicate. The city's neon lights reflected faintly on the metal walls, creating streaks of blue and green across the ground. Mara hovered above the main entrance in her sleek hovercar, her eyes scanning every corner. She knew that the final confrontation was about to begin. Her wrist device buzzed with updates from her drones. Each drone had scanned the area, recording movement and energy signatures. Mara had analyzed every route inside the warehouse, memorized every crate location, and mapped potential escape points. Human intelligence, creativity, and adaptability had prepared her for this moment. She had studied the enemy's behavior during the chase and knew how they would react under pressure. The warehouse doors opened slowly, and the corrupt officers stepped out from the shadows. Their expressions were tense, a mixture of fear and determination. Behind them, the syndicate members peeked from between crates, unsure of the outcome. Mara remained in her hovercar for a moment, observing, calculating, and preparing. Humans had the unique ability to remain calm in dangerous situations, to plan while under pressure, and to act decisively when the time was right. Mara spoke into her wrist communicator. "This is your final warning. Surrender peacefully and the Council will take your cooperation into account. Any attempt to resist will be recorded, and the consequences will be severe." Her voice was calm, firm, and unwavering. She had learned that authority projected through confidence and intelligence often had more power than weapons alone. One of the corrupt officers stepped forward, trying to regain control. "You cannot stop us. We have resources, we have allies, and we control this area." His voice shook slightly, betraying his fear. Mara's eyes narrowed, but she remained calm. Humans had the ability to assess threats, anticipate actions, and respond with precision. She was ready. From her wrist device, Mara activated the hovercar's external energy shield. It shimmered around her vehicle, protecting her from any attack. She also deployed drones to strategic positions around the warehouse, ready to monitor and intercept any aggressive moves. Technology could assist, but it was human judgment and reasoning that made the strategy effective. Mara's plan relied on both, perfectly integrated. The officers made a move to grab the energy crates. Mara anticipated it instantly. A drone swooped down, projecting a harmless but visible force field, blocking their path. The officers shouted, frustrated, and tried to push through. Mara's calm, firm voice echoed through the warehouse. "Step back. You are surrounded and observed. Any aggression will be documented." Humans had a natural ability to combine verbal authority with strategic positioning, and Mara used it flawlessly. The syndicate members began to panic. Their usual confidence faded as they realized they had been outmaneuvered. Mara's observation skills allowed her to track their positions, anticipate movements, and plan the next step. Human creativity and foresight had turned the tide. The officers were not the only threat. The syndicate was clever, but humans could think several steps ahead, and Mara demonstrated that ability now. One officer attempted to activate a small device to disable the drones. Mara had expected this. She tapped her wrist device and rerouted the drone signals, neutralizing the attempt. The officer froze, realizing that every action was countered. Humans had the ability to adapt instantly, to respond creatively, and to outthink opponents. Mara relied on that skill to maintain control. The warehouse lights flickered as the tension increased. Mara's drones projected a faint holographic grid showing the positions of every individual inside. She analyzed their behavior, noticing the hesitation, fear, and confusion. Humans could use psychology to their advantage. Mara remained calm, letting her presence, planning, and authority influence the situation without violence. "Your plan has failed," Mara said clearly. "You have no escape. Surrender now, and the Council will consider your cooperation. Resist, and the full extent of your actions will be documented." Her voice resonated through the warehouse, carrying both authority and clarity. The human ability to communicate confidence, intelligence, and morality often had more power than aggression alone. The officers hesitated, then tried to retreat toward the back of the warehouse. Mara had anticipated this. She activated drones to block the main corridors and signaled her DEA partners, who moved quickly to secure the exits. Humans had the ability to coordinate complex actions in real time. Mara's strategy relied on that strength, ensuring no escape route remained. The syndicate members attempted to hide among the crates, hoping to avoid detection. Mara's sensors, combined with drone observations, located them immediately. She communicated their positions to her backup, and the agents moved in systematically. Humans could plan, communicate, and execute simultaneously, adapting as new information appeared. Mara used these skills flawlessly. One officer attempted a last-ditch effort to intimidate Mara. He raised a handheld device trying to create a localized energy surge to disrupt her systems. Mara anticipated it and quickly deployed a countermeasure, neutralizing the device before it could cause harm. The officer's face turned pale. He realized that human foresight, intelligence, and preparation were superior to his desperate attempts. Mara slowly stepped out of her hover car. She moved deliberately, maintaining a calm but authoritative presence. Humans could influence behavior through posture, voice, and clarity of thought. The officers froze. The syndicate members stopped moving. Mara's calm determination radiated confidence and control. "You are outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and observed," Mara said firmly. "Surrender peacefully, and no further harm will come. Any attempt to resist will only worsen your situation. Humans have the ability to anticipate, plan, and adapt. You cannot overcome that." One officer dropped his device, shaking. We surrender," he said reluctantly. Mara nodded, her expression steady. Humans could achieve control and resolution through intelligence, calmness, and moral authority, rather than brute force. The syndicate members followed, raising their hands in submission. Mara moved among them, recording every action. Evidence was critical, and humans had the ability to combine observation, reasoning, and technology to ensure justice was served. Her sensors recorded energy signatures, communications, and movements, creating a detailed log of the operation. Backup agents moved in to secure the area. Mara coordinated the collection of the energy crates and devices. The evidence of illegal activity and corruption was complete. The officers and syndicate members were detained. Humans could organize, communicate, and execute complex tasks effectively. Mara had used all these abilities to achieve success. Mara reflected on the confrontation. Humans thrived under pressure, using intelligence, creativity, and courage to overcome obstacles. The corrupt officers had relied on deception and intimidation, but human clarity, reasoning, and adaptability had outmatched them. Mara's actions demonstrated that even against sophisticated threats, humans could prevail. She walked through the warehouse, ensuring all evidence was collected. Every crate, every device, every piece of data was logged meticulously. Humans had the ability to observe, organize, and reason in ways machines could not. Mara's preparation and intelligence had turned a dangerous confrontation into a decisive victory. The city lights reflected through the warehouse windows as Mara surveyed the scene. Humans had the ability to face danger, adapt to unexpected challenges, and act with courage and integrity. She had proven that today. The corrupt officers and syndicate members were exposed, their plans foiled, and justice ensured. Mara returned to her hover car, her movements deliberate and calm. The operation was complete, but she knew this was part of a larger mission. Humans had the ability to continue learning, adapting, and overcoming challenges. Mara's next steps would build on this success using intelligence, courage, and moral clarity to protect the city. The city of Nova Prime moved below her, unaware of the decisive action that had just taken place. Mara's actions ensured that corruption and illegal activity would be punished, and the city would remain safe. Humans had the ability to solve complex problems, act decisively, and maintain moral clarity even in dangerous situations. Mara embodied these qualities perfectly. As she lifted her hover car into the air, Mara thought about the future. Humans had the power to face threats, overcome deception, and act with courage and intelligence. Her mission would continue, but she had proven that human skill, preparation, and reasoning could overcome even the most calculated schemes. The warehouse operation had been a success. Evidence was secure, the corrupt officers were detained, and the syndicate's plans were foiled. Mara's calm, intelligent, and decisive actions had demonstrated the strength of human ingenuity and courage. Humans could face any challenge, and she would continue to prove that. Mara adjusted her course, heading toward the city center to report her findings. Her mind remained alert, ready for the next phase of the mission. Humans had the ability to think, adapt, and act effectively under pressure. Mara had used these abilities to protect the... Mara returned to the city center of Nova Prime, her hovercar gliding smoothly through the glowing skyways. The city was alive with light, sound, and motion, but Mara's mind remained focused on the mission's final steps. The corrupt officers had been detained, and the syndicate's operation had been exposed, yet the work was not complete. Justice needed to be documented, verified, and delivered. Humans had the ability to plan, organize, and execute complex tasks, and Mara relied on that skill now. She landed her hovercar at the DEA headquarters, a massive structure of gleaming metal and energy shields. The building rose above the surrounding towers, its design a testament to human engineering and ingenuity. Mara stepped out, her movements calm and purposeful. Humans had a way of commanding respect through presence, confidence, and clarity, and she demonstrated it effortlessly. Inside the headquarters, Mara met with her colleagues and superiors. Screens displayed live feeds from the drones, evidence collected from the warehouse, and detailed logs of the corrupt officers' actions. Every movement, every device, and every interaction had been recorded. Human intelligence, reasoning, and attention to detail ensured that no detail was overlooked. Mara explained the operation calmly and precisely, outlining the sequence of events and the evidence collected. Her colleagues nodded in admiration. "You handled this with remarkable skill," said her supervisor. "The city and the council will recognize your efforts. Your preparation, observation, and calm judgment made the difference." Mara smiled slightly. Humans could achieve extraordinary results when intelligence, courage, and moral clarity were combined. She had done more than just complete a mission. She had demonstrated the power of human potential. The Interstellar Council received the reports and verified the evidence. Within hours, official notifications were sent to the city administration and law enforcement agencies. The corrupt officers were formally charged and the syndicate members were detained. Humans had created systems of law, observation, and accountability that allowed justice to be enforced even in complex and dangerous situations. Mara had shown that these systems could be supported by intelligence, strategy, and courage. As the news spread through Nova Prime, citizens began to recognize the efforts of human agents who protected the city. Mara's actions became a symbol of human capability, the ability to think clearly, act decisively, and uphold justice. The city celebrated the success of the operation, not with fanfare or noise, but with quiet confidence that humans could overcome corruption and threats through intelligence and courage. Mara walked through the streets of the city, observing the ordinary lives of its citizens. Children played near glowing fountains, vendors sold mechanical tools and food, and citizens moved efficiently through the bustling skyways. Humans had built this city through ingenuity, creativity, and determination. Mara reflected on how the same qualities had guided her through the chase, confrontation, and exposure of corruption. Intelligence, courage, and moral clarity had prevailed once again. She thought about the corrupt officers and the syndicate. Their failure was not just due to her technology or training, but due to the fundamental human abilities she had relied upon. Observation, anticipation, adaptation, and reasoning allowed her to outmaneuver them. Human intuition and creativity had filled the gaps where technology alone would not have been enough. Mara had demonstrated that humans were capable of extraordinary heroism. The city administration invited Mara to address a council meeting. She spoke calmly and clearly, describing the mission, the risks involved, and the strategies used to ensure success. Her words emphasized the importance of intelligence, integrity, and courage. The council members listened attentively, impressed by the clarity and decisiveness of her actions. Humans had a unique capacity to inspire through words and reasoning, and Mara used it effectively. "Humans are capable of great achievements," Mara said. "We can face danger, adapt to unforeseen challenges, and act with courage and integrity. This operation demonstrates what careful planning, observation, and moral clarity can accomplish. We must continue to use our intelligence to protect the city and uphold justice. Her speech resonated with every council member. Humans had the ability to combine intellect, moral purpose, and courage in ways that inspired trust and confidence. Later, Mara returned to her hovercar to review the collected evidence once more. Every log, every energy signature, and every recording had been meticulously catalogued. Humans could organize complex information and derive meaningful conclusions from it. Mara ensured that nothing was overlooked. She wanted the records to be indisputable, proving the power of human observation and reasoning. As night fell over Nova Prime, the city's neon lights reflected on the smooth surfaces of her hovercar. Mara thought about the chase, the confrontation, and the final exposure of the corrupt officers and syndicate. Humans had the ability to remain calm under pressure, to plan strategically, and to act decisively when the situation demanded it. She felt a deep sense of pride in what had been accomplished. Her wrist device buzzed. Reports from other DEA agents indicated that the city's security had improved. Patrols were being monitored more effectively, and citizens felt safer. Human intelligence, organization, and courage had ensured the success of these improvements. Mara realized that her actions were part of a larger mission to demonstrate the potential of humans to uphold justice and integrity across the galaxy. Mara decided to visit the warehouse one last time. The area had been secured and officials were cataloging the evidence. She observed the operations calmly, noting the efficiency of the teams. Humans could coordinate complex actions in real time, adapt to unexpected challenges, and maintain focus on their goals. Mara's own performance had mirrored these qualities, combining intelligence, courage, and moral clarity. As she stood outside the warehouse, Mara looked at the glowing skyline of Nova Prime. The city had been built by humans, and it continued to thrive because of human creativity, determination, and courage. The corrupt officers had been exposed, and the syndicate's plans had failed. Mara had proven that humans could overcome deception, danger, and complexity through intelligence, foresight, and strategic thinking. She thought about her journey. The initial threat, the chase through the city, the confrontation at the warehouse, and the final exposure of corruption had tested her skills, resolve, and reasoning. Humans had the ability to face challenges, learn from them, and act decisively to achieve justice. Mara had embodied these qualities throughout the mission. Returning to her hovercar, Mara reflected on the city's future. Humans would continue to face threats and challenges, yet their ingenuity, courage, and moral clarity would ensure that justice prevailed. She knew that her actions had set an example for others, demonstrating what could be accomplished when humans combined intelligence, observation, and determination. The citizens of Nova Prime continued their lives, unaware of the quiet battles that ensured their safety. Mara felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that her human abilities had made a difference. Courage, intelligence, and moral integrity were the true strengths of humanity, and she had demonstrated them in action. Later, Mara visited a training center for new agents. She shared her experiences, emphasizing the importance of observation, reasoning, and calm decision-making. Humans had the ability to inspire and teach, and Mara used that talent to prepare the next generation. Young recruits listened attentively, learning how intelligence and courage could overcome danger and deceit. "Remember," Mara said, "our greatest tools are our minds, our courage, and our moral clarity. Technology and training are important, but human reasoning, intuition, and adaptability are what make us capable of extraordinary achievements. Never underestimate your own potential." The recruits nodded, absorbing the lesson. Humans had the power to shape their future through intelligence, courage, and integrity. Mara returned to her hovercar one last time that evening, gliding over the city lights. The neon skyline stretched endlessly, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. She reflected on her mission and the lessons it had taught her. Humans were capable of extraordinary heroism, intelligence, and moral clarity. Mara had proven that today, and her example would inspire others across the galaxy. She looked down at the bustling streets below. Citizens moved with purpose, unaware of the challenges that had been quietly resolved to ensure their safety. Humans had the ability to think ahead, act decisively, and uphold justice. Mara felt proud to be part of a legacy that combined intelligence, courage, and moral clarity to protect the city and its people. As the night deepened, Mara's hovercar glided silently across Nova Prime. The city was alive, thriving, and safe. Humans had the capacity to face threats, overcome challenges, and act with courage and integrity. Mara had demonstrated that power through her actions, reasoning, and strategic thinking. She knew that the mission was a victory not just for herself, but for all humans. The corrupt officers and syndicate members had been defeated, their schemes exposed, and justice served. Nova Prime could continue to thrive because of human intelligence, courage, and moral clarity. Mara smiled, knowing that her actions had made a lasting impact. Humans had the power to face any challenge, adapt, and succeed.